What's going on, Reject Nation? Greg and John here today. So we are going to check out from Netflix the Army of the Dead teaser trailer. It's only about a minute, 13 seconds long here. It is from Zack Snyder, the man himself. A man who I greatly support, especially as of now. If you guys didn't see, we did a coverage on that interview he recently did for Vanity Fair. I was already a big supporter of the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder himself, but after that interview, I'm like, whoa. I might just call myself a stan pretty soon.
Seem like a good guy.
So after we do this reaction, we'll of course, do a little breakdown, go through the coverage. I listened to Grace Randolph Beyond the Trailers interview this morning that she put up with Zack Snyder. It's a really good interview if you guys haven't listened to it already. Let's get into this. Hey guys, tried getting this up earlier, but yet again, our favorite claimants in the world. You guys might know who I'm talking about. Have yet again claimed another one. There's a link for the reaction in the description box and pinned comment for you guys to watch the reaction. Really would appreciate if you could come back here, watch the review, the breakdown, or at least even some of it, because YouTube tends to favor watch time more than anything else, or else this video won't get promoted or seen. Also, if you go ahead and hit that like button, really would love that too. Anywho, hope to see you back here in a second. All right, guys. Well, you might hear the wind pounding against the window right now, and some guy who's also deciding to whack some weeds out there during this crazy wind that we're having. So sorry if that noise becomes a little bit disruptive here. There, hopefully not. Okay, guys, in case the trailer did not clue you in enough, the plot is following a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, a group of mercenaries take the ultimate gamble, venturing into the quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist ever attempted. Heist zombie movie.
Gamble. Let's see what they did there.
Looking at this trailer, I'm very excited for what he's got in store for this, especially after listening to that interview this morning. Zack came up with this movie idea like 10 years ago. This is gonna sound like a big franchise for Netflix. They have a prequel already shot. As you see in the trailer, you got Matthias Schweighöfer? I don't know how to say his name. He's apparently this really huge German actor who Zack Snyder brought over into this movie. And if I'm not mistaken, he is also the director of the Army of the Dead prequel. And then on top of that, they got an animated series that's supposed to come out next year, even further back, explaining how all this happened. And that's gonna have like an anime influence to it. So I'm very excited to see what all they have planned, because looking at this footage right here, the influences that Zack Snyder's talking about, stuff like Aliens, the team up, stuff like Escape from New York. This world of Vegas is now being quarantined with zombies, and this group of people have to break in and steal $200 million. Combining elements of zombie film, which, obviously Zack Snyder came into the film world through Dawn of the Dead, now with combining this heist element to it. And on top of that, his first time shooting something on digital that he himself was the director of photography for. I think this is gonna be something really special, especially for fans of Zack Snyder, generally speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is like exciting to me, partly too, because it seems like a return to the roots a little bit. I mean, Dawn of the Dead has always had a special place to me in a Zack Snyder overall canon, partly because it is sort of more kinetic and it's very gritty, but it's not as heavy on some of the more like fluid, like slow-mo stuff that he likes to do. So I'm curious to see how he'll go back to the roots of that style, but also maybe incorporate some of his newer flourishes to it. I mean, it's a more gritty, nasty world,
Sure.
more meriting of a gritty, nasty style. And from what I understand, like Red built a custom camera for him to use on this.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm excited. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what look that they've been doing that a lot lately, especially for Netflix. Like they did that for Mank as well. The amount of like visual control is fascinating to me, and yeah, especially to know that then Zack was the one to shoot it. It's got to be the purest expression of his visual format, and this being a tease, I like that. Yeah, we don't get too much, but we do get at least a flavor for what the military action's gonna be like, with the heist, especially with Bautista looking so badass.
Yes.
But also, yeah, this World War Z-esque, just desolate horde of zombies, and I'm curious to see how Zack's gonna put his own stamp on that too, because World War Z is a touchstone for however divisive that movie is as a whole, and it's partly because of how it redefined its zombies.
I'm a big fan of his remake of Dawn of the Dead. Even looking at this trailer, it reminded me of how his remake of Dawn of the Dead had a lot of humor in it. A lot of really like dark, cynical humor.
Yeah, you had these like bantery characters.
Yes, and so it's kind of funny when you see the credits here listed of like the director of Dawn of the Dead and Man of Steel, like the movie that he first did, and then of course like the franchise that his name is so associated with now. Which, by the way, I rewatched Man of Steel last night. Man, that movie is just so I liked it. This is the most I've ever loved it. I cried. I don't think I've ever cried watching it. The first time I cried. I don't
because you know Zack Snyder is Pa Kent.
Now I'm his best friend. Now
you know he's Pa Kent.
yeah. I just feel like I got it like way more this time. Seeing some of this here is like, oh yeah, that's right. You know, even though the first Justice League trailer when he was still the one directing that had some humor in there, his films as of late are now more associated with kind of the heavier, gravitas, dark. And while this is gonna be dark, it also looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Fun in all the kind of violent, romp kind of ways that I just personally love. It's rated R for strong bloody violence, gore and language throughout, some sexual content and brief nudity / graphic nudity. Like, damn! We haven't seen like a hard R Zack. Even like Snyder Cut, yes, is rated R, but it's not rated R for that.
It's not gonna have all that. There's no graphic nudity in the Snyder Cut. We're not gonna get a stripper zombie or something.
It's like stum violence. And this is like, yes, this is the Zack Snyder I really grew attached to when he did like Dawn of the Dead and 300. This kind of Zack Snyder.
This seems like a place where he can have fun, and it's also funny to me that partly like Dave Bautista was not in the Suicide Squad because he chose to do this movie, even though it's not tonally gonna be the same at all. It does seem like the kind of movie that will have an ensemble that does have some sort of, charming, witty back and forth between them. And so to see Dave Bautista now in a place where he's not gonna be the wacky character, but I can imagine him being the badass, but also, kind of sarcastic, funny character. Like, this looks like, the biggest arena for Zack Snyder and company to actually have some fun, while also, crunching heads and stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, what's cool is that the visual palette looks very different too. I thought this was just gonna make me go back to Dawn of the Dead. That's what I thought initially when I heard it was doing another zombie movie. I'm like, oh, okay, it's probably just gonna look like Dawn of the Dead again. When it doesn't. Honestly, it's like if you watch the Dawn of the Dead and then you watch this trailer, you might think it's two completely different directors. Yeah. And that's what I love about it. And he's really good at mixing up his visual style. And it's pretty funny to know they filmed this in Atlantic City in New Mexico and not Vegas at all.
Vegas and Los Angeles are always one of those outside places now, no matter how recognizable cities they are.
Or if they did film it in Vegas, I don't know that, or I just forgot. And in terms of like the zombie genre, like I love zombie films. This kind of has like a Dead Rising vibe to it. And while there's not a lot of the cast members featured here, the cast is actually quite big. It's a really big ensemble. Tig Notaro replacing Christy Elia was a big deal when that first happened. I find it such an interesting swap casting to do.
Yeah. They worked a lot to get it done, apparently. Like, they had to either CG her into scenes or else have her act against like someone else.
Oh, really?
So she's not really with anybody from what I understand.
I'm excited to see what Tig Notaro does because I think Tig Notaro's hilarious. I know Christy Elia recently put out a video on his channel. Don't know how people are responding to him. Doesn't matter. What matters is this. As a matter of fact, that was like the last thing that popped in my head after all this discussion. Anyway, guys, what did you think of this trailer? Are you excited for Army of the Dead? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that notification bell, hit that like button. Last but not least, Rosa Para. Rosa, look, if there was a zombie apocalypse happening right now, with the amount of protective maternal instincts that you possess, you would undoubtedly sacrifice your children so you could get out alive. Yeah. And that's the kind of woman you gotta respect, because most people will be like, wow, you're a strong protective mother. You do anything to keep them alive. But you know what matters most is that you can survive so that way you can find another man to procreate with. Because you could always get another kid. So just get rid of them and then you continue on living this beautiful life after the vaccine for the zombies comes out. So you are a strong, powerful Latina woman. Not many women are willing to give a sacrifice against the zombies, but you're one of them.
It takes a lot of courage to do that.
But in all seriousness, I support that decision. Thanks for being part of our Patreon page for so long, Rose. You gotta make shit up once in a while. So happy for you being here.